Raiders finally get back in the win column after defeating the division rival Denver Broncos for the second time this season, this time in overtime 22-16. So the Raiders swept the Broncos for the third season in a row. Last time Denver beat us was back in 2019. We weren't even in Las Vegas yet. So very interesting, but the Raiders, rise to the occasion, finally get a win and move to 3-7 on the season, and actually win their first road game of the season also. This game was in Denver. Very much went down to the end. I didn't think the Raiders were going to win it. I thought, do they have what it takes? Luckily for them, they did, thanks to Davante Adams and some good end of the game defense. And so, basically getting into it, Denver opened up scoring with a 1-yard touchdown run from former Raider Latavius Murray. That made it 7-0 Denver, and they went up 10-0 pretty quickly. In the second quarter, Brandon McManus gets a 48-yard field goal. Meanwhile, Daniel Carlson missed a field goal for the Raiders, but the Raiders did get on the board after Davante Adams got a 31-yard touchdown pass. A very good play from him, good awareness from Derek Carr, and that made it 10-7. Denver attempted a field goal at the end of the second quarter to give them a 6-point lead, but the Raiders blocked it. Actually, Max Crosby blocked it, the best defender on the team. So that it remained 10-7. The Raiders tied up the game, scoring the only 3 points in the third quarter, making it 10-10. We go to the fourth, where we had a lot of back and forth. So Denver got a Brandon McManus very deep field goal. It was 52 yards, but the Raiders matched that with the Carlson 57-yard field goal. So two 50-plus yarders, one for each team, made it 13-13. Then Denver once again takes the lead. McManus gets a 48-yard field goal, and Carlson gets a 25-yard field goal to make it 16-16. So in the fourth quarter rather, both teams are just trading field goals. Now we go to overtime, and just a minute and 36 seconds into the game, Derek Carr finds a wide open Davante Adams in the right corner of the end zone. Pat Surtain could not guard him, I guess, correctly, and Davante takes advantage and, puts it in the end zone. He's already there. He just catches it, and, the Raiders win 22-16 and finally get back in the win column. Their first away win of the season, like I said. Second time we've beaten Denver, and this was also our second overtime game this year. So the Raiders get back in the win column. I mean, honestly, for the Raiders, it hurts their draft position if they win, and so they moved back a couple of spots. They're going to play the Seattle Seahawks next game in Seattle. We haven't beaten Seattle in many, many years, and so maybe we can beat them. I don't know. They're having a great season though with Geno Smith, so we'll see what happens. But I mean, it was a good win for the Raiders. Not like it totally matters much anymore. This isn't a very important game. Two teams at the bottom of the division. But now, actually, the Raiders aren't fourth place in the AFC West. Given that the Raiders and Broncos have the same record, the Raiders actually are above them, given the fact they beat them twice. But in this game, you got to give credit to Davante Adams. He's the reason we won this game, scoring 2 touchdowns. The only 2 touchdowns the Raiders scored, I believe. And, it was just a great game from Davante. Also, Josh Jacobs had a good game too. No touchdowns for him on the ground today, but he did have 109 yards rushing. Derek Carr did okay. He did better. Denver has a good defense, so you got to give Carr a little bit of credit here. 307 yards, but the Raiders, definitely still climbing out of a hole. The Broncos offense was pretty lackluster in this game. I was surprised, that they kind of put up a fight against us, considering not much production. But they also released Melvin Gordon following this game. Sort of, I think obvious in my mind, considering how much he fumbles. But the Raiders do get the win, and so you got to give them credit. In overtime, 22-16 over the Broncos. So let me know your thoughts. I'll see you guys later, and go Raiders.